Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. Today I'm going to jump track a little bit. I had a plan, and my plan was to do this Abumatic 475, and it's been sitting a while, and it needs some work. So I was going to do it. Then I went to the yard sale yesterday, or flea market, and I found this Abumatic 150 at the flea market, and it is in sore need of a little attention. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do that one instead. And then I saw this poor Abumatic 170 that looks like it fell off the back of a truck. The cover's all crushed in on it, and the foot's missing. And I managed to pick this up for $3 for the parts for it. And I'm telling you, you can't get those parts anywhere for that price. So I went ahead, picked that up, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do the Abumatics today. But before I managed to leave the flea market, I found this damn quick micro light reel. And you see the price tag it had on it. Well, I felt that was a little bit much, and I talked to him about it, and I said, you know, this reel doesn't turn. I said, $80 is a whole lot to ask for a reel that's grease choked. And the man asked me, he said, well, what would you pay for it? I said, I'd give you maybe $10 for it. And he said, well, I'll take 10. And so I got this nice reel for $10. It is grease choked. You can turn it. But one thing I'd also noticed is this lever right here for the bail trip is bent down. Now I could try to grab hold of that with a pair of pliers and bend it back up, but I'd rather take it off and lay it down on something flat and just give it one quick sharp tap with a hammer, and I think that'll straighten it out. I've found when you try to bend things back slowly using a pair of pliers, they have a tendency to snap. Whereas if I tap them back into shape quickly, they tend to hold up a lot better. So yes, then I was ready to come do this damn quick micro light. And then before I got out of there, I found this batch of automatic fly reels. And they all seem to be suffering from the same fate, all but one. Which one is it? Let's see. Is it this one? I think it's this one. No, not that one. It's the Perrine. Nope, ain't that one. Must be one of the south bends. Maybe it's this south bend. Nope, that one froze up. Maybe it is this. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, this is the only one in the whole batch that when you pull it out, will actually wind back in. All of the rest of them are jammed up in some way or fashion. They all have good springs. That was the first thing I tested. They all have a good spring. So the clock spring in each of them is good, but when you hit the lever, nothing happens. And that happens on every single one of these. You can adjust, tighten up this clock spring, and you hit the trip release, nothing happens. They all have that same exact problem. So I'm going to be doing a series on these and see if we can't get them up and running. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. This one runs. There we go. This Perrine works. But this top lever, I don't know what it does. If anybody knows and can enlighten me as to what this top lever is supposed to be for. The bottom one does rewind it like it's supposed to. The top one does nothing. I wonder if it is like a brake. I wonder if you hold that down while you hit this. Yes, it acts as a brake. Okay, so this one is perfectly functional. And I think we're going to start off with this one. It's going to be the first one we do today. We'll take it apart, clean it, service it. Although, look at it, it's in beautiful condition. I got a sticker on it that needs to come off, but aside from that, I don't see anything wrong with this reel at all. So we're going to see if we can't do this one first. I've done a Perrine once before, And it had a shattered clock spring in it. This one has a good clock spring. That's why I wanted to do one that didn't have it. This Perrine, I might do this Perrine at the same time. It winds up. You can wind it up. Oh, and you gotta trip the lever. There you go. You can wind it up, but it does not release. So I'm assuming that that release and this release are pretty close to being the same inside. So I think I might go ahead and do both of these Perrines at the same time or in the same video and see what we find. They're not real complicated reels, so I'm hoping I can get this one up and running as well as this one. And these two South Bends are going to wait for a different day. And this one is a Shakespeare, I believe. No, one of these is a Shakespeare. I think it's this one. Yeah, I don't have my glasses on, so that's why I'm having a little trouble. You guys probably saw it immediately. And this one here is dirty, and I can't read what it's... Oh, this is the Martin. This is a Martin reel. And hey, look at there. The Martin reel is not malfunctioning. It's working. So that's one I will do separately also. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and knock out these two Perrines. So let's get started. Let's start off with this one. First thing we're going to do is relieve the tension off of it. We'll hit the trip lever. Nothing happens there. Then we're going to hit this one here. That takes all the final tension off. With that done, we should be able... Let me get my glasses. Okay. Let's see here. All right. You see this pin right here? Well, that pin is going to keep this lid from coming off. See that snap pin right there? What you have to do is you have to push that pin down while you rotate this top counterclockwise. There we go. Now that comes out and you lift that off. We'll take the snap ring off. Make sure you lift it up and over this post on this side. There we go. Set that to the side. All right. Gently now we're going to set this down and lift the spring out. And a lot of times these springs tend to want to get caught. So we're going to rotate this gently back and forth here a little bit and see if we can get that spring to pop up out of there. There we go. I got it moving. And there we go. It snaps off. Okay, this spring is in excellent condition. There's no rust or anything else in there. So what we're going to do for that is, well, okay. You guys can't, you guys are seeing a lot more than you need. There you go. All right, what we're going to do for that, ooh, there is a bend in the spring right there. Hopefully that will not translate into a crack or break one day. But we'll just take and put some oil along the spring just to help keep it lubricated so that when it slides on itself, that oil will drip down in there and help keep it lubricated. Okay, let's see what we can do here. This should hopefully lift out as well. There we go, and it did. All right, now we've got instructions on the spool. This spool is friction mounted on the pinion. It slips over, okay, can strip after spring is fully wound to adjust friction, slightly tighten nut until spool can hardly be turned on the pinion. Do not set it too tight. Okay, so this nut adjusts the motion of this pinion. Okay. Now, I've taken one of these apart once before, the other Perrine, and I got to remember how I took that off. I might have to cheat and go look, but I believe that we took this nut off. To remove spool, push slide. Push the slide found under the line, retrieve layer outward, slide. Okay, so it says in order to remove this spool, we slide this out right here. All right, like so, and now we should be able to remove the spool. And that got it further. Okay, I still think we might have to take this nut off. Nope. Okay. Okay. Some of the directions on that have been scraped away. All right, well, we got this slid out. So the spool should be able to come out. Let's try that. Lift out on that or down on that. Nope. Okay, I went and checked the video on the other one of these that I did, and it seemed to come off okay. But I think the deal is that the spool is stuck on this shaft. I believe that this shaft is supposed to stay in here. So I think the spool is stuck on it. I think that's where our issue is. So let's see if I can do something to free that up a little bit. Now it's not stuck on the shaft. You see, it turns independently of the shaft. Okay, so let's try loosening the drag net. That didn't, oh, that turned everything, I think. Let's find out. No, that turned the nut, okay. All right, well, this looks like it's gonna be fun trying to figure out. The spool should be coming up and out at this point. There it goes. I just was afraid of using too much force on it. Okay, there it is. Comes up and out. Okay, now, here's the question is why, yeah, see, this is a brake. Remember I showed you earlier that this top one was operating as a brake? Well, this bottom is a brake also. When you push down, it releases that brake off of there, off of this, just like it does on the Perrine 51 that I did. So, wow. This is a very pristine reel inside. The only issue that I have is that it has no grease. And I really think that it should be greased, even if ever so slightly. It should have grease in it. Okay. We're not going to put any grease on the friction surface right here where the spool rides. But we will put some on the shaft here that slides inside. And we'll rotate this. Is this, see how it rotates around? Okay, now that means that there's a gear. See when I turn this gear that this one turns, that's because there is a gear on the bottom there that's spinning. Now the side of this gear turns on this little small gear right here. Okay, and this has a drag washer in the bottom of it that's supposed to be adjustable. Okay, and it's got a built-in anti-reverse as well. So what I really need is to try to get this spool taken apart, but it didn't want to come apart. Ow. Yeah, it does not want to come apart or adjust. I hate to grab hold of this, the gear itself. I don't want to damage it, but I do believe that we need to get this apart from from here because there are drag washers inside here that this tightens down on. And if it's frozen, then the drag, built-in drag for the spool turn is not going to work. So I'm going to ever so gently try to hold. No, not with these, I'm not. Those are going to slip too well. Okay, we're going to use these to hold that gear because the teeth will kind of lock down in between. And now let's see. If I can get this to unscrew it. All right, there we go. All right, that net's off. Now we should be able to slide this out. Okay, there's our drag washers. There's one there, one there. There's the 2 drag washers that go on top up here. Here's a drag washer on the bottom right here. And there's our anti-reverse. Okay. Very nice. But now this should be greased as well. It's a nice reel, but it needs grease. There we go. Oh, that's much nicer. All right, now we're gonna put this back on. And see those little teeth? These little teeth lock into little teeth on here, which you don't hardly see, but they're there. Okay. Then you've got this drag washer, which rides on the brass. And I think we're going to keep that dry. I don't think we're going to set that clutch up to run there. And the edge of this, you can see where the edge of it here has been rubbing on the inside here. Okay. Set that in place. We're going to slide this. Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and clean the outside of this shaft. All right, this shaft is now clean. I'm going to oil this shaft. Some people may wish to grease it. I'm going to oil it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and reassemble this before we put it back inside. So we'll set this up on here. Make sure those teeth lock in. We're going to also oil this shaft right here. And we're going to slide this back on like so. But now you got to make sure that that washer sits in the middle of the round spot there, so that everything rides well. Let's tell you what, let's do. Let's set this one in place. And we'll set this one in place like so. And then there's this brass washer, which was on here. Okay, we're going to set that over top of the hole. And then drop everything back down through there, like so, and get it to lock in. Okay, push up on it as far as you can get it to go. Okay, I think I got the threads cleaned up enough now. They were just boogered up on the end just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that, but they were ever so slightly boogered up on the end. I don't have a thread chaser for that pitch of thread, so I had to use the brass nut and a file to try to clean it up just a little bit, and I'm hoping it's going to work okay. We'll see. Let's see if we can put this thing back together now. Okay, we've got the brass nut on here. You've got to get it pushed down around the teeth. We've got to get the anti-reverse down to where it's rotating properly. Okay, this is not down where it needs to be. Something ain't right. So let's take this off. See if we can pop. There we go. That popped it back in. All right. Put the brass washer back on. Put the pressure plate back on. Okay. Put the drag washer back on. And let's slip the wheel back on. Set it down flat. And now we push in. See how it comes up? Now there, how it comes up. Okay. Now, we should have two drag washers. One here. Where's the other one? Here's the other one. Okay. Not real sure why there's two drag washers instead of just one thick one, but hey, I didn't design it. All right, I'll push this down. Let's see if we can get this nut to start on here. I'm going to keep that pushed down and see if we can screw that down. All right, now we got the nut back on. And now we've got a lot of tension on the drag washer now. I think we're going to back it off just a little bit. All right, there we go. There, that feels better. All right, so we've greased the anti-reverse. We've greased the gears in here. We've wiped this down so that we don't have any grease on the brake assembly here. Okay, we also don't want any grease on the edge of the brake for the secondary brake. That's this feather brake right here. Okay, at this point we can go ahead and slide this back down like so. Get it in there, and with that locked into place, we should be able, remember this nut came off of the other one, we should be able to slide this back in like so. There's the gear in. We're locked in, and let's take a look now at this plate. The top here is where the spring rides, and you can see it's pretty dirty and grimy. We're going to clean that up a little bit. Okay, let's look at the lever that's on the back side of this. Well, first off, let's go ahead and put this gear back on here. All right, like so. And what happens when this operates is it goes around. See how it clicks that? All right. Now, on this other side, when you flip this lever on the outside, when you flip that this direction, that lifts that out, and it releases this. So this can unspin and take all the tension off of it, which is how you would want to park this. When you're done with this for the season, or even for the day, you would want to take the tension off and release the tension on the spring. Now, you don't want to just flip it and just, you want to keep your hand on it and let it slowly come down. All right. And this pin over here is simply the one for releasing that case that we took off. Remember that little pin that we had to push down? Oh, that's it. Okay. So let's go ahead now and let's oil this pin. We're going to oil this pivot and this pivot. There we go. With that done, we can bring this around and see if we can figure out where everything's supposed to go. Now, if you look, see these pins right here? All right, each of the pins is a little different, but this one has a hole right beside it. See the one with the hole? Well, the one with the hole is where this pin right here is going to fit into. Okay, so bring this around, slide that in through over the shaft, set this down. Oh, I got it upside down. Flip it over. All right, set this down, and that pin should go right into that hole. And that's what's going to lock that case on. When we put the case cap back on, this ring, when we put that on, that pin is what's going to keep it locked in. All right? Now, you see a lot of scratches on here. Okay, we've oiled this spring. But so that the edge, and you notice all that oil has soaked into the spring facing now. Okay? But the edge of the spring has to slide on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grease the face of this. I don't know that you're supposed to, but that's what we're going to do on this particular one. We're going to grease this face so that spring can slide easily. Right there. Okay. We're going to set this piece back in. And now we've got to line up the flat in here in this center hole with the flat that's on the shaft. Like so. Okay, then it's just going to sit on there like that. And now our cover piece is going to go on here. Now, why is this here? What is that going to do for us? That's going to allow... Oh, that's where this is going to snap in and out of as it goes around. Okay? So that's got to go on that side right there. And then this should go here. But we got a hook. See this pin? That's got a hook in this slot right here. Okay? Slide this up and in. Get everything to fit around the collar. There we go. Yep. Got to get that last one in. All of them have to line up in all the holes. And this guy is creating grief for us. There we go. There we go. And he is not lined up where he belongs. He's got to go into that slot right there. Like so. All of these have to line, there we go. Then push him in a little bit so that the pin can slide in to the slot. Like so. Make sure all the pins are now down in their slots. Make sure none of them have missed, and then rotate this, and that will lock that pin in and lock this back into place. All right, here we go. Okay, we are no longer braking all the time. Okay, means our brakes are not applying. Does that mean we don't have it down far enough? Or does that mean we don't have that drag nut adjusted tight enough? Okay, so let's try to go back and try to adjust that drag knob some more. Okay, get the pin pushed in. Rotate this. And let's see if we can adjust that drag knob some more. Okay. Let's try it again. Oh, I know what was wrong. I might need to loosen that back up again. All right. Get our pin back where it belongs. Right here. I had it in the release position. There's my pin. There's my pin. Okay. There we go. I think it was in this position. No, this position. Yeah, it was in the release position, which is where I wasn't holding. All right. Duh. All right. Line up the flat. Slide it on. Let's put this all back together once more. Okay, where is, got to put that pin in that slot. That one goes there. Okay, push down the pin here. There's a lot that's got to get married up on this. The reel isn't that difficult, but you do have to marry a lot up to get it to operate properly. Okay, now, see how it's spinning out? Okay, now we come over here and flip this lever, and that should lock it. I said it should. Okay, well, then I guess I did need to adjust that drag. It's going down all the way. It's lining up on there. Right. Okay, I've got grease on the... Okay, I think I might have found it. We have grease on the brake. Brake shoes don't work very well when they're greasy. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, is anybody feeling drunk yet? All right. Okay. Drop that around, that one around, push the pin in, drop that one around. All right, all the pins are on. That locks it into place. I got something wrong. Okay. All right, here's where the grief was. And I was putting this on, I was not getting this lever right here pushed all the way back forward. If you look right here, when you move this forward, it slides that arm right there, or plate, in. And what that does, it creates a lever, or a slice in between this brake and this assemble, and this right here. This is now wedged in between that plate and that little brake shoe. And that wasn't coming forward enough, so it wasn't locking in. So let's see if I can make it lock in this time. Okay. Slide this in, snap it down. Let's get onto this and slide. There we go. That's got it slid in there. Okay, I think we've got it now. Helps to have a full understanding of what all's going on in there. Okay, flip this lever. That pushes this arm back out, so that'll catch. All right, let's see here. We want this slot to go over that pin right there. And all the rest of these should line up. We got to get that pin to go down. So this comes over, and there we have it. Okay, now when I wind it up, it's not free spooling. However, when we hit the lever, there we go. But yet if you've got the brake on here, even when you hit that, okay, I got a little bit left to do. I want to clean this old sticker off the top. All right. Now, to say that this little Perrine automatic fly reel number 80 kicked my tail is an understatement, because it did. But we've now got it cleaned up. It's working like a brand new one. We can release the tension off of here by flipping the lever. And then we can let go of the wheel gently to take the tension off. All right, so now how would you use this thing? All right, first off, you get your line wound on into the whole thing, and you can do that by winding it up, letting it pull the line, and hitting the release, and letting it pull the line in, a little bit at a time. Pull it all in, wind it up some more, put some more line in. And you keep going until you get your line all wound up inside the reel. Now, once you've done that, let's say that you've wound this thing up, but you got it wound too tight for the amount of line that you want to pull out. Well, that drag that we set a while ago is what is adjusted for that line. So if you hit the max drag on your spring, when you pull the line, that drag will let more line out. And then you can just hit the button and it's going to pull it back in anyway. Okay? However, let's say now you've got a fish on. Your line's running. You've got your line coming out. It's coming out of the reel. And you've got your fish hooked. Well, you're sitting there and you're trying to hold the line. And the fish is stripping line out of your reel because you've got the drag set too light. Okay? Well, that gives you this brake right here. You can reach down with your finger and hit the brake, and that's going to apply extra drag onto the spool, so the fish are going to have to pull a whole lot harder to pull any line back out of your reel. Okay, so you don't have to sit there and constantly fight that line if he's pulling on it hard. It's just one of the automatic features. Now, a lot of fly fishermen don't use that, wouldn't want to use, well, most of the high-class fly fishermen wouldn't want to use an automatic line anyway. They are sticklers for using non-automatic fly reels. So I think it's pretty cool though. Okay, and that's what this secondary brake is. The other Perrine that we're going to be doing does not have that, and we're going to release the tension off because I'm putting this one into storage. I don't know when it'll ever get used. Okay, so there you've got the Perrine automatic fly reel number 80, and I'm going to do a separate video for the 81. It's a little bit different, so I'm going to do a separate video and clean it up. Since I got to clean them both up anyway, I'm going to do a separate video on this one. And but basically, it's the same reel. It just doesn't have the extra brake here. So let's go ahead and end this one, and I'll do the next video on this one.